What if the problem wasn't sloppy paperwork, but paperwork that didn't exist until after auditors showed up asking for it? Now, this story starts off in Minnesota with Governor Tim Walz and with the Minnesota Department of Human Services, the agency that's responsible for managing hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars that are meant for mental health and addiction services. And it doesn't come from partisan activists, internet sleuths, or even political rivals. It actually comes from the Minnesota Office of Legislative Auditor, career auditors whose one job is to quietly follow the money, not the headlines. So here's why this matters to you. Every paycheck that you've ever earned, every tax dollar you've ever paid, all of this carries an expectation that the records tracking that money already exist, that oversight is real, that compliance isn't optional. But according to a state audit, required documents at Tim Walz DHS didn't just go missing. Some appeared only after auditors demanded them, and at least one of them was created and backdated to look legitimate. Now, folks, that's not confusion. That's not disorganization. That's intent. And when records only exist under pressure, when audits expose documents that materialize after the fact, the question stops being who messed up and it becomes who thought they wouldn't get caught. Now, tonight, we're going to go ahead and walk through exactly how this audit unfolded, why it triggered calls for accountability, and how a routine review turned into a full-blown credibility crisis. Because if this can happen here, quietly inside of a state agency, then the real risk isn't just Minnesota. That's trust. Hit the like button and subscribe. Okay, here is the part that most people are missing. This story does not begin with a whistleblower, a viral clip, or even a partisan attack. It actually begins with a formal audit conducted by the Minnesota Office of Legislative Auditor, an agency whose entire role is to quietly verify whether government records already exist before anyone starts asking questions. Now, on January 13, 2026, with Donald J. Trump serving as president, the audit landed like a thunderclap inside of Minnesota's government. The focus was the Minnesota Department of Human Services. This is an agency operating under Governor Tim Walz. What auditors found forced a very specific question into the open. Are we looking at bureaucratic incompetence or intentional falsification triggered by oversight? Because those two are not the same thing. One is fixable and the other one is criminal. Now, auditors didn't accuse anyone of wrongdoing up front. They just simply asked for records that are legally required to exist. And so when those records weren't there, the entire narrative shifted. Now, at this point, this stopped being about paperwork. It became about credibility, intent, and whether the system only works when no one is watching. Now, let's go ahead and walk through the sequence, shall we? Because sequence is everything here. The Minnesota Office of the Legislative Auditor requested standard oversight documents from the Minnesota Department of Human Services, records that, by law, should have already existed. Now, these weren't optional files. These were compliance documents that are tied to taxpayer funds. The initial response from DHS was simple and stunning. The documents did not exist. So auditors pressed. They didn't accuse, they didn't threaten, they just simply kept asking. And that's when something extraordinary happened. Documents suddenly appeared. Not rediscovered, not located in an archive, created. In at least one confirmed case, auditors determined that a document was generated after the audit had already begun, and then it was backdated to make it appear legitimate. Now, that detail matters because this wasn't a misunderstanding about where a file was stored. This was a conscious act taken only after oversight had arrived. And when records materialize under pressure, the question becomes unavoidable. If the audit never happened, would those documents exist at all? Now, let's go ahead and slow this down a little bit, just because this is the moment where the story either collapses or it locks into place. Now, backdating a document is not something that happens by accident. It doesn't happen because someone forgot to upload a file or misnamed a folder. To backdate a record, someone inside the Minnesota Department of Human Services had to know exactly what date the document was supposed to be created. Also, why that date mattered and what rule it was meant to satisfy. Now, this means awareness, this means timing, and that means intent. The Minnesota Office of Legislative Auditor didn't speculate about this. They documented it. A record was created after auditors were already asking questions and then altered to make it appear as though it had existed for years. That's not sloppy. That's not overworked staff. That is a decision to rewrite the past once oversight arrived. And when that happens under an administration led by Governor Tim Walz, it forces a very hard conclusion. The system didn't fail quietly. It reacted, and it reacted because it was being watched. And this is exactly how quiet damage happens, not with alarms, but with assumptions. Because $89 doesn't sound dangerous until it's every single month. Now, one retiree thought that his Medicare plan was fine. It wasn't. He was paying for benefits that he didn't need because his plan was outdated. By the time anyone looked closely, over $1,000 a year was already gone. No warning, no refund, just money bleeding out quietly. And that's the same pattern that we're seeing here. When nobody checks, waste hides in plain sight. That's why I partner with Chapter. They review your Medicare coverage line by line. They find the waste that's buried inside of it, and they stop the slow bleed before another year disappears. No pressure, no sales gimmicks, just clarity. Now, most people, they're already dialing the phone number right there at the bottom of your screen, 909-563-8279, or they're clicking the link down below in the description down below to go to askchapter.org/Ron to see exactly what they're missing. All right, now let's get back to this audit, because the oversight failures, they didn't stop with paperwork. So here's where the scale of this explodes. The audit didn't just examine random paperwork. It actually focused on the Behavioral Health Administration. This is a division inside the Minnesota Department of Health and Human Services responsible for distributing over $200 million every single year for mental health and addiction programs across Minnesota. Now, these funds come with clear rules. Providers must be monitored, site visits must be conducted, services must be verified. But auditors found that those required state site visits, they never happened. Oversight wasn't delayed, it was missing. And when auditors asked DHS for proof that monitoring occurred, that's when the documents became problems. In fact, the Minnesota Office of the Legislative Auditor ended up doing work that DHS itself was required to do. Physically going into the field to verify whether services were being provided at all. That's not a paperwork issue. That is a systemic failure of oversight at the very agency entrusted with protecting vulnerable populations. So this is where it gets worse, guys. Once the Minnesota Office of the Legislative Auditor realized oversight records from Minnesota Department of Human Services could not be trusted, they did something that DHS was already required to do but hadn't. They went into the field themselves. They visited providers. They checked locations. They tried to verify whether services paid for with taxpayer dollars were actually being delivered. And what they found was deeply troubling. In multiple cases, not just one, auditors could not confirm that services tied to these grants were even being provided at all. No proof of treatment, no evidence of outreach, no documentation that real people received real help. Yet, the money had already been released. Millions of dollars moved on trust alone. Trust that collapsed the moment verification was required. Now, under Governor Tim Walz, this wasn't just a breakdown in administration. It was a breakdown in safeguards. The audit exposed a system where funds flowed first. Questions came later and records assembled only after scrutiny arrived. That's how paperwork problems turn into real-world consequences. Now, let's be very clear about what this means, guys. These weren't abstract dollars on a spreadsheet. This was taxpayer money, earmarked for mental health treatment and addiction services, programs that were meant to reach people at their most vulnerable. So when Minnesota Department of Human Services failed to verify services, that trust was broken twice, once with taxpayers and once with the people that these programs were supposed to help. The Minnesota Office of the Legislative Auditor didn't say services were poorly delivered. In some cases, they couldn't even confirm that they were delivered at all. And when records can't prove services happened, the damage isn't theoretical, it's real. Someone didn't get help. A community program may have never existed beyond paper. So this is the emotional core of the scandal, because when oversight collapses, accountability disappears. And when accountability disappears, under an administration led by Tim Walz, confidence in the entire system erodes. And so this is why this audit didn't stay quiet. And this is why it didn't stop at Minnesota. And this is why systems matter so much, like whether you're talking about government oversight or your own financial life. Because when money leaks out quietly, it compounds in the wrong direction. And when systems are built correctly, progress compounds the right way. And this is actually the core idea behind Flywheelers Income Society. One of the first income opportunities inside this group is simple and it's transparent. Members of the Flywheelers Income Society, they can earn referral commissions by inviting others who genuinely want to learn about recurring income and asset building. There's no hype, there's no pressure, just alignment. And the entire community is built around compounding, ideas that stack, income that builds over time, and relationships that actually create leverage. It's about replacing fragile systems with ones that work even when you're not watching them every second. Now, if you want to see how that flywheel works and decide whether the group fits your goals, I'm gonna leave leave the link in the description down below. Go ahead and click that link right now. All right, so let's keep on going because the problems that we uncovered in this audit, they didn't stop with broken trust. Now we get to the ethical fault line that auditors flagged without exaggeration. In at least one case examined by the Minnesota Office of Legislative Auditor, a grant manager inside the Minnesota Department of Human Services approved funding for a provider and then just left the agency shortly thereafter. Months later, the same individual resurfaced as a paid consultant for the very same grantee whose funding that they had overseen. Well, that's odd. Even if that move falls into a legal gray area, the oversight damage is undeniable. The moment a regulator becomes a contractor for the regulated entity, the firewall collapses. Incentives blur, accountability weakens, and the public confidence takes another hit. Now, under Governor Tim Walz, this pattern didn't exist in isolation. It appeared alongside missing records, fabricated documents, and oversight that only materialized after auditors arrived. Now, that context matters because the revolving door isn't the headline, it's the accelerant. It turns weak controls into compromised controls, and it also raises the question that auditors can't answer for the public. Were decisions made for compliance or for convenience? So here's a detail that seals the pattern. This was not the first time that the Minnesota Department of Human Services, specifically its Behavioral Health Administration, had even been audited. The Minnesota Office of the Legislative Auditor had examined this division before. Recommendations were issued, fixes were promised, and leadership claimed the problems were resolved. They weren't. The latest audit found many of the same failures still in place: missing oversight, inadequate training, unverified services, and weak internal controls. Now that shifts the narrative entirely because a one-time failure can be chalked up to mismanagement. A repeated failure after warnings, this is something entirely differently. Now under Tim Walz's administration, this became a cycle: audit, assurances, inaction, repeat. And when documents suddenly appeared only after auditors demanded them, it suggested not just neglect, but resistance to oversight. This is why lawmakers from both parties reacted so strongly. This wasn't a new problem. This was an ignored one. So this is the moment where confidence either gets restored or permanently breaks. Audits exist to correct behavior. They're supposed to change systems. But when Minnesota Office of the Legislative Auditor returns to the same division inside the Minnesota Department of Human Services and then finds the same failures still standing, the message to the public is chilling. If nothing changes after exposure, oversight becomes theater. Under Governor Tim Walz, the pattern wasn't denial, it was inertia. Problems were acknowledged, recommendations were accepted, and then nothing meaningful happened until auditors came back. And when they did, records appeared after the fact. Now, that's not compliance responding to guidance. That is a system responding to pressure. Now, for taxpayers in Minnesota, this reinforces a very painful truth. Safeguards only worked when somebody was watching closely. And if the system reverts the moment scrutiny fades, well, then audits don't deter misconduct. They just temporarily interrupt it. And this is why this story refused to stay local. Because once people see oversight fail twice, they start asking whether accountability is real or is it just performative. And this is exactly where this story crossed state lines. The Minnesota audit didn't stay buried in committee rooms, it triggered national scrutiny. J.D. Vance publicly cited the findings as emblematic of a broader failure in government oversight. Senate Republicans pressed for more answers, openly questioning whether leadership in Minnesota had totally lost control of its own agencies. And at the federal level, the posture was clear. With Donald J. Trump in office, the administration signaled a renewed focus on fraud, waste, and abuse alongside with the DOJ administration, especially where audits documented after the fact record creation. Calls for resignations weren't rhetorical. They were tied directly to credibility and governance. This escalation mattered because it reframed Minnesota from a local failure into a national case study where documents appear only after audit pressure, federal eyes follow. And so once Washington starts asking questions, the stakes change overnight. So why did Minnesota become the spark? Not because it was the only state with problems, but because the paper trail here was unusually clear. I mean, look, the Minnesota Office of the Legislative Auditor didn't rely on anonymous tips or speculation. They documented the timelines. They prepared request responses. They compared requests to responses. They showed what existed before oversight and what appeared only after oversight began. That is what made this different. Under Governor Tim Walz, the Minnesota Department of Human Services wasn't accused of losing track of money. It was shown reacting to scrutiny by assembling records after the fact. That's the kind of evidence that translates across state lines. Other states can dismiss accusations, they can argue context, they can debate intent, but they cannot explain why documents only materialize after auditors arrive. This is why lawmakers elsewhere started paying attention. Minnesota became the case study because it exposed a vulnerability that every large bureaucracy has, and it showed what happens when oversight is treated as an obstacle instead of a safeguard. This audit didn't just reveal a failure, it revealed how systems behave when they think no one's looking. Now, this brings us exactly to the only question that actually matters. After everything that the Minnesota Office of the Legislative Auditor documented, missing records, backdated documents, unverified services, well, what happens next? Will there be firings inside the Minnesota Department of Human Services? Will there be prosecutions if intent is proven? Will leadership under Tim Walz accept responsibility, or are they just going to wait for the news cycle to go ahead and move on? Because if nothing happens, the message is unmistakable. It tells every agency in Minnesota and beyond that records don't need to exist until somebody asks for them, that oversight is optional, that accountability is temporary. With President Donald J. Trump in office and federal pressure mounting, this audit forced a national pause, not to score political points, but to test whether audits still mean something. If fabricating records inside of a state agency leads to consequences, sure, trust can be rebuilt. But if it doesn't, then this wasn't just an audit, this was a warning.